You're 10 years old, standing in the doorway watching a delivery driver stack large boxes against the wall. You figure it's something boring, like furniture parts. But when your mom tears into them, there's no furniture. There are ring lights, a tripod, a camera kit still wrapped in plastic. You don't know what any of it is for. What you do know is that she used to work the front desk at a plastic surgery clinic across town. She spent her days checking in women who paid cash for procedures that cost more than your rent, while eviction notices kept sliding under your door and the grocery cards kept getting declined. Then one day she quit. No warning, no explanation. Suddenly she's home every afternoon with the bedroom door closed and the room warm behind it. And within 3 months, the eviction notices stop completely. The bathroom fills up fast. A $300 curling wand appears on the counter, then a professional flat iron, then a clamp light zip tied to the mirror. One night you notice a heavy bolt lock on her bedroom door, the industrial kind, the type you'd see on a storage unit. You don't ask about it. You find price tags in the kitchen trash for things you've never seen her wear, lacy stuff with brand names you have to Google just to figure out what they are. Something has changed. You just don't have the words for it yet. She calls it content work. You're a kid, so that lands fine. The Do Not Disturb sign goes up on her door every afternoon around 2. And through the wall you can hear her voice, a little higher than usual, a little softer, like she's talking to someone she wants to impress. You learn to keep the TV low. Within a year you're in a different house, bigger neighborhood, actual yard, a pool out back that nobody in your old apartment complex would have believed. Designer stuff starts appearing, a new car in the driveway, a trip to a resort over spring break. None of it existed before the boxes arrived. You don't question it because the math feels simple. She works hard. Now things are better. That's how it's supposed to go. Then you're at a house party junior year. Someone hooks their phone up to the TV and pulls up a video as a joke, something they thought would get a reaction from the room. It gets one. You're standing near the back with a drink in your hand when you recognize the couch, then the lamp in the corner, then the rug, your living room, on a screen, in front of 20 people you go to school with. The room stays loud, but you go completely quiet inside. Every locked door, every conference call, every clamp light on the bathroom mirror lines up at once. You put the cup down and find a reason to leave. After that, you start asking to be dropped off a block from school. You tell her you like the walk. She agrees without looking up from her phone. 2 years after the boxes arrived, you find her second account. You're 14, she's in the shower, and her laptop is open on the kitchen table. The account isn't hard to locate once you start looking. 1.8 million followers, a stage name, a link behind a paywall. You don't click through far before you close it. You sit there for a while just staring at the kitchen table. The same table where she helped you study for finals. The same table where she put birthday candles on a store-bought cake and sang off-key and laughed about it. You realize you've been living inside someone's business without ever signing anything. The money makes it hard to stay clean about it. You've got the newest phone before anyone in your grade. Sneakers that kids at school ask about by name. No financial stress, no declined cards, none of the old apartment life. Every time the anger starts to build, something new shows up and takes the edge off. It's a trade you didn't negotiate and can't opt out of. When she asks you to help drag a velvet couch into the room she now calls the studio, you do it. You don't ask why. When she can't get the lighting right, you figure it out, adjusting the angle until the shadows disappear from the walls. You become the one person in her operation who knows everything and says nothing. That's the role. You didn't audition for it, but here you are. You're at a basketball game with a girl from your history class. Her uncle is the referee, one of those loud, confident guys who fills up whatever room he walks into. He comes over to say hello during halftime, and then he sees your mom standing near the scorer's table. He stops talking mid-sentence. His face doesn't go to disgust. It goes somewhere more specific than that. It's recognition. He knows her, just not the way you know her. He looks at you, looks back at her, and then the conversation just stops. The girl keeps talking for another minute before she feels it too. You drive home knowing that your social life has a ceiling and you've just found it. After that, you stop having people over. You stop mentioning the house, the car, any of it. At school, you keep your head down and your grades up. Not because you're motivated, but because studying fills the hours and hours don't ask questions. You watch her buy things, post things, respond to people online who talk to her like they know her, and you start to understand that the person managing all of that isn't exactly the same person who used to work the front desk. The airport is where it finally becomes physical. You're waiting in a lounge for a flight when a man in business clothes spots her from across the room and calls out her screen name loud enough that people turn around. He's already walking toward her before she can react. You get up and step between them. Your voice comes out steadier than you expect it to. On the drive home, she checks her phone twice before you leave the parking structure. She wants to know if anyone filmed it. You pick a college 2 states away, not for the program, not for the campus, because nobody there knows your last name or what it's attached to. She films the goodbye. You're standing in the driveway with a duffel bag and she's got her phone up, narrating the moment, something about her baby leaving the nest. The hug lasts about 4 seconds and feels like a handshake at the end of a business meeting. You get in the car and you don't look back at the house. You work 2 jobs the first semester, a coffee counter in the morning, a restaurant on weekends. Your roommates think you've lost your mind. Your mom pulls 6 figures and you're eating ramen 3 nights a week by choice. But you need the food in your stomach to be yours. There's no way to explain that to someone who hasn't spent years calculating the cost of their own sneakers in subscriber counts. Then the data breach hits. A site like hers leaks real names and addresses, thousands of them, and within 48 hours people are building lists. Trolls find your accounts before you even know it's happening. Screenshots land in your mentions, comments you don't want to read, people tagging you in things you can't unsee. You delete everything in one sitting, every account, every photo, every username. You go dark and stay there. You go home once, about a year later. The house is bigger again. Cameras in the kitchen now, pointed at the counters. She says they're for security. You count 4 ring lights in 2 rooms and don't say anything. She asks how you're doing over dinner, and before you finish the first sentence, she's already checking a notification. You're a character in her content, the college son, proof that she's doing something right. You tell her you're not coming back for summer. She looks up then. You walk out without looking at the pool. You meet someone that fall. She's a teacher, talks about her students the way people talk about things that actually matter to them. No phone face down on the table, no checking between sentences. You wait 6 months before you tell her about your mom. You're braced for the reaction, the questions, the chance she'll want to look things up later when you're not around. Instead, she just listens. And when you stop talking, she takes your hand and says, "You're not your mother's career." You've never heard anyone say that out loud before. Something in your chest loosens, like a knot that's been there so long you stopped noticing the tension. Then the call comes, not from your mom, from someone who works for her, a young woman who sounds like she's holding it together by one thread. Your mom had a breakdown during a live stream. Fans watched the whole thing. The comments are still running when you check, thousands of people debating whether it was real or staged, whether this is a new content direction. You drive to the hospital. No cameras in the room, no ring light on the ceiling, just a tired woman in a thin gown sitting on a bed and staring at a wall that's exactly what it looks like. She doesn't ask about your job or your girlfriend. She asks if you're okay. For 3 days, she's just your mom and nothing else. You stay the whole time. Before you leave, you tell her you'll help her get through it, but she has to walk away from the accounts. All of them. She looks at you like you asked her to hand over something she can't name. She says she'll think about it. You've been around long enough to know what that means. You get on a plane, go back to your ordinary apartment, your ordinary job, your ordinary life, which turns out to be the thing you wanted most. On her birthday, you send flowers. She posts them with a caption about family being everything. You don't like the post. You change your last name at 26. No public profiles, no searchable trail. You're a ghost on purpose. One weekend you're walking through a shopping district and you see a kid, maybe 11, holding a gimbal while his mom walks slowly in front of store windows talking into a lens. He's not shopping, he's working. Every time she pauses, he adjusts the angle. You recognize the posture, the quiet attention, the way he's already learned to disappear behind the equipment. You keep walking. He has to find his own way out of the frame. You sit on a bench a few blocks later and watch the light drain out of the sky. No filter, nobody watching. Your phone buzzes. Unknown number. It's her. A photo of a sunset from her balcony. No caption, no hashtags, nothing to sell. Just a picture. You look at it for a while. Then you put the phone in your pocket and leave it there. The only way to win is to stop playing.